The roar of the crowd on TV exploded like a thunderclap. Seahawks versus the Niners, fourth quarter, everything on the line. Eli's heart slammed against his ribs as he lunged forward, fist pumping the air, yelling, "Come on, Russ, you got this." But in that split second of chaos, his hand brushed Jasper's. Not the casual slap of victory, but a linger, fingers curling just enough to send a jolt straight through him, electric and forbidden. Jasper froze, his blue eyes locking onto Eli's with a depth that stripped away the years of easy brotherhood. And in the dim glow of the screen, Eli realized the game they'd been playing all along wasn't on the field at all. It had always been like this, the two of them against the world, stitched together by late-night drives along the foggy Seattle waterfront and shared silences that said more than words ever could. Eli Harlan, 28 and still figuring out the shape of his own edges, had grown up in the shadow of the Space Needle, son of a single mom who waitress doubles at Pike Place to keep the lights on. He was the quiet kid with sketchbooks full of half-drawn dreams, the one who found solace in the gray drizzle that mirrored his moods. Jasper Whitaker, a year older at 29, was the son to his reign, broad-shouldered, with that easy grin that could disarm a room, raised in the same neighborhood but from a family that had it all. Dad a tech exec, mom a gallery curator, the kind of privilege that made Jasper's rebellion feel like a luxury. They'd met in high school shop class, bonding over a botched woodworking project that ended with them both covered in sawdust and laughing until their sides ached. From there, it was inseparable. College road trips to the Oregon coast, Jasper's wedding that Eli had stood up as best man for. A ceremony Eli attended with a smile that hid the ache of watching his best friend vow forever to someone else. Tonight, though, the apartment smelled of stale pizza and the faint tang of spilled beer, the kind of ordinary Friday that masked the undercurrent pulling them under. Jasper's divorce had hit 6 months back, messy and public, the kind that splashed across local headlines because his ex, Riley, was some up-and-coming indie singer with a vindictive streak. "Man, she's poison?" Jasper had muttered over the phone that first night, voice cracking like thin ice, and Eli had driven straight over, no questions asked, crashing on the couch until the storm passed. Now, Jasper lived in this shoebox above a coffee roastery in Capitol Hill, walls lined with vinyl records and faded Seahawks posters, a far cry from the sleek Bellevue house he'd left behind. Eli showed up weekly under the guise of game nights, but really, it was the only place he felt whole. The touch lingered in Eli's mind as the commercial break dragged on, some ad for truck insurance blaring too loud. His palm still tingled where Jasper's fingers had overlapped his, not pulling away like they should have. Eli stole a glance, heart thudding. Jasper was sprawled back, legs kicked up on the coffee table, his faded Husky's hoodie riding up just enough to show a sliver of tan skin above his jeans. That grin was gone, replaced by something raw, unguarded. A flicker of the boy Eli had pulled from the edge of a rooftop party in college, drunk and heartbroken over a girl who ghosted him. "You ever think about it?" Jasper said suddenly, voice low, almost lost under the TV hum. Eli's breath caught. Think about what? The game? The divorce? Or the way Jasper's laugh used to make his chest tighten in ways he couldn't name? Eli swallowed, forcing a chuckle that came out brittle. Think about what, man? How Wilson's gonna choke again. But Jasper didn't laugh. He shifted, elbow brushing Eli's arm, and the air thickened, charged like the moments before a downpour. Outside, the rain pattered against the window, a steady rhythm that matched the pulse in Eli's ears. He'd buried this feeling deep, told himself it was just bromance, the kind every guy has with his ride or die. But Seattle's endless gray had a way of eroding defenses, stripping you bare until all you had left was truth. And tonight, with the score tied and the clock ticking down, Eli wondered if they were both out of time. Jasper reached for his beer, fingers grazing Eli's knee this time. Accidental, maybe, but the heat of it burned through denim. "Nah," Jasper murmured, eyes fixed on the bottle label like it held secrets. "About us. How we've always been. This." He waved a hand vaguely between them, the gesture encompassing years of inside jokes, borrowed hoodies, and the unspoken pact to never let the world touch what they had. Eli's throat went dry. This was the hook, the moment that snagged him and wouldn't let go. He dreamed it 100 times in the quiet hours after midnight, Jasper's face blurred by longing. But dreams didn't come with consequences. Reality did. The whistle blew on screen, play resuming, but neither moved. Jasper's hand stayed, a question in the weight of it, and Eli felt the damn crack inside him, the one holding back floods of what-ifs and why-nots. They danced around it before, in fragments. That summer after Jasper's wedding, when Eli flew solo to New York for a design gig, he'd come back to find Jasper waiting at the airport with takeout and a six-pack, eyes red-rimmed from a fight with Riley. "Don't ever leave like that again," Jasper had said, pulling him into a hug that lasted too long, bodies pressed close in the arrival's terminal bustle. Eli had laughed it off, blamed the jet lag, but the imprint of Jasper's heartbeat lingered for weeks. Now, divorced and adrift, Jasper was a live wire, sparking at every turn. Eli wanted to pull back, to crack another joke about the ref's bad call, but the words stuck. Instead, he turned, meeting Jasper's gaze head-on, and whispered, "Yeah, I think about it all the time." The admission hung there, fragile as the rain-slicked city lights beyond the glass. Jasper's breath hitched, a sound so small it might have been the wind, but it shattered Eli. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to just them. The flicker of the TV casting shadows across Jasper's jaw, the faint scar above his eyebrow from a skateboarding wipeout they'd laughed about for years. Then Jasper leaned in, slow as if testing gravity, and their lips met. Not a crash, but a sigh, soft and inevitable, tasting of hops and hesitation. Eli's hand found Jasper's neck, thumb tracing the pulse there, and for the first time, the touch wasn't small at all. It was everything unraveling. But as the kiss deepened, Eli's mind raced ahead, to the morning after, the awkward silences, the friends who'd whisper and the family who'd never understand. Jasper pulled back first, forehead resting against Eli's, eyes closed like he was memorizing the moment. "Fuck," he breathed, a laugh bubbling up, half joy, half terror. "What are we doing?" Eli didn't have an answer, only the wild thump of his heart and the certainty that whatever this was, it had been building since the day they met. The game ended in overtime, Seahawks pulling a miracle win, but neither cheered. They sat there, hands entwined, the roar of the crowd fading into white noise, while outside, Seattle wept for them both. The next morning dawned gray and unforgiving, the kind of Seattle light that seeped through cracks like regret. Eli woke on the couch, neck stiff, a throw blanket tangled around his legs, the one Jasper's mom had knit years ago, all blues and greens like the sound on a good day. Jasper was in the kitchen, shirtless, humming some old Pearl Jam tune as he cracked eggs into a pan. The domesticity of it hit Eli like a wave. The sizzle of butter, the coffee maker gurgling to life, the way Jasper's back muscles shifted under ink. A tattoo of a compass rose Eli had designed for his 21st birthday, pointing forever north. Last night's kiss replayed in fragments, hot and hazy, but the weight of it settled now, heavy as the fog rolling in off the water. "Morning, sleepyhead," Jasper called without turning, voice lighter than it had any right to be. He slid a mug across the counter when Eli shuffled in, steam curling up like a question mark. Black, 2 sugars, just how Eli took it. They moved around each other in silence at first, plates clinking, forks scraping, the radio murmuring forecasts of more rain. Eli stole glances, tracing the new shadows under Jasper's eyes, the faint stubble matching his own. Was this it? The shift from friends to whatever came next? Or just a drunken slip, buried by brunch and banter? "So," Jasper said finally, leaning against the sink, arms crossed in that way that made his biceps flex unintentionally. "About last night." Eli's stomach twisted, fork pausing midair. Here it comes, the backpedal, the "we were wasted" line. But Jasper's eyes held steady, blue as the rare summer sky. "That wasn't nothing, Eli. I've been an idiot pretending." The words tumbled out, raw and unpolished, Jasper's Texas drawl slipping through from summers spent with grandparents in Austin. Visits he dragged Eli along on, teaching him to two-step under string lights. Eli set his fork down, pulse quickening. Pretending what? Jasper rubbed the back of his neck, a tell Eli knew meant vulnerability incoming. "That I'm straight. Or was. Riley always said I was too close to you, like it was a flaw. But fuck her. It's you, man. It's always been you flickering in the corners of my head." The confession landed soft, but it rocked Eli. Jasper, the guy who dated cheerleaders in high school, who proposed to Riley on a yacht in Elliott Bay with fireworks spelling her name. Jasper, coming out to him over scrambled eggs in a kitchen that smelled like home. Eli's chest ached with a mix of triumph and terror. He'd known his own truth since 16. A fumbling kiss with a theater kid at summer camp, but hiding it had been survival in their blue-collar bubble. Now, with Jasper mirroring him, the mirror cracked. They talked then, words spilling like the rain outside, hours bleeding into afternoon. Jasper traced his journey. The pressure from his dad to man up. The affairs he'd buried in workaholic nights at the ad agency. The divorce that finally snapped the facade. Eli shared fragments of his own. The hookups in college that felt hollow. The sketches of Jasper tucked in his portfolio like guilty secrets. Laughter wove through the pain, memories surfacing. That road trip to Yellowstone where they'd shared a tent, waking tangled and blaming the cold. The night Jasper held him after his mom passed from cancer, 2 years back, whispering promises into Eli's hair that sounded too much like love. By evening, the apartment felt charged, alive with possibility. They ventured out, hoods up against the drizzle, wandering Capitol Hill streets alive with neon and laughter. At a dive bar on Pike, they claimed a corner booth, beers sweating on scarred wood, the jukebox crooning Springsteen. Jasper's knee pressed against Eli's under the table, deliberate now, an anchor in the crowd. To us? Jasper toasted, clinking bottles, his free hand finding Eli's thigh, thumb circling slow. Heat bloomed low in Eli's gut, but it was the tenderness in Jasper's gaze that undid him. The way he saw, really saw, the scars Eli hid behind sarcasm. Back home, the door barely clicked shut before they were on each other. Kisses hungry and unhurried, hands mapping familiar territory with new intent. Jasper's skin was warm under Eli's palms, the compass tattoo a guidepost as he traced it with lips. They moved to the bedroom, Jasper's space, a mess of flannel sheets and dog-eared paperbacks, collapsing onto it in a tangle of limbs and breathy laughs. It was messy, real. Elbows bumping, reassurances murmured in the dark. "Tell me if it's too much," Jasper whispered, voice rough with want, and Eli pulled him closer. "It's everything." Afterward, spent and sated, they lay staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, fingers laced, the rain a lullaby. For the first time, Eli slept without dreams chasing him. But dawn brought whispers of doubt. Jasper's phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from his sister, Lena, asking about family dinner Sunday. "Dad's in town," Jasper read aloud, tension creeping into his voice. Eli knew the score, Harlan Whitaker, the silver-haired exec who'd bankrolled Jasper's life but never approved of his phases. The man who'd cornered Eli once, post-wedding, clapping his shoulder too hard. "Keep him straight, kid. He's got a future." Now, with the future loomed jagged. Jasper silenced the phone, rolling to face Eli, but the shadow lingered. "We'll figure it," he said, kissing Eli's temple. But the words felt like a prayer, not a promise. Days blurred into a tentative rhythm. Mornings tangled in sheets, evenings sketching side by side. Eli's digital tablet humming next to Jasper's charcoal pads. They cooked disasters that ended in takeout, walked the waterfront hand in hand after dark, invisible in the tourist throng. But cracks showed. Jasper flinched at a coworker's casual fag joke overheard at lunch, relaying it to Eli with forced humor that fooled no one. Eli, scrolling design forums late at night, stumbled on threads about by guys in straight marriages, hearts heavy with stories that echoed too close. "What if it's a phase for you?" Eli asked one night, vulnerability slipping out over cooling stir-fry. Jasper's face fell, hand covering Eli's. "This isn't a phase. You're not a detour." Yet the world pressed in. Lena called, voice sharp. "Dad suspects something." "What's going on, Jazz?" Jasper deflected, but the call left him pacing, chain smoking on the fire escape while Eli watched from the window, helpless. Seattle's embrace felt tighter, the mountains a distant reminder of escape routes untaken. Still, in stolen moments like Jasper humming off-key in the shower, or Eli's head in his lap during a Mariners game, they built something fragile, fierce. Love. Eli dared name it, whispering it to the ceiling when Jasper slept. But love had teeth, and as Sunday dinner loomed, Eli wondered if theirs would bite. Sunday arrived like a storm front, skies bruised purple over Lake Union. Jasper's childhood home in Medina gleamed across the water, a modernist sprawl of glass and steel, the kind of place that screamed old money without apology. Eli gripped the steering wheel of his beat-up Subaru as they crossed the floating bridge, knuckles white. "You don't have to come," Jasper said for the 10th time, hand warm on Eli's thigh, but Eli shot him a look. We're in this. Together. The words steadied them both, a mantra against the tide. The driveway was lined with luxury SUVs. Lena's Prius a modest outlier. Inside, the air hummed with clinking glasses and low chatter, scents of rosemary roast and Cabernet weaving through. Harlan Whitaker held court in the living room, silver hair impeccable, laugh booming as he regaled clients with tales of Silicon Valley conquests. His wife, Margot, glided in with a tray of apps, her gallery smile masking the chill Eli remembered from past visits. Lena, sharp-eyed and loyal, hugged Jasper tight, then eyed Eli with a mix of warmth and wariness. Long time, she said, pulling him into the kitchen for a quick pour of wine. Heard about the divorce. You holding him together. Eli nodded, throat tight, as she launched into sisterly gossip. But the undercurrent pulled, Harlan's gaze lingering too long, calculating. Dinner unfolded in the sunroom, rain lashing the panes like accusations. Conversation danced around edges. Jasper's new freelance gigs, Lena's promotion, Eli's latest client win for a local brewery's rebrand. Then Harlan leaned forward. Fork paused. So, Jazz, seeing anyone? After that mess with Riley. The table stilled. Jasper's jaw ticked, hand finding Eli's under the tablecloth. A secret lifeline. Working on myself, Dad. Taking it slow. The old man chuckled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Good. A man needs focus. Distractions like, well, you know. He glanced at Eli, the implication a blade. The shop class dropout, the perennial sidekick. Eli's cheeks burned, but he held steady, squeezing Jasper's hand. Margot steered to safer waters, art exhibits, mariner's slump, but the damage lingered. After dessert, Harlan pulled Jasper aside in the study, door ajar just enough for voices to carry. Son, I'm worried. Eli's a great friend, but he's soft. You need stability, not experiments. Jasper's response was muffled fury. He's more than a friend, and it's none of your damn business. Eli slipped out to the deck, rain misting his face, lungs burning for air. Lena joined him, lighting a rare cigarette. Dad's an asshole when scared, she said, exhaling smoke like truth. But Jazz? He's choosing you. That terrifies him. They talked then, raw and real. Her own divorce, the family fractures, the quiet queerness she'd suspected in Jasper since high school sleepovers where he'd blush at Eli's towel-clad exits. Protect each other? She urged, stubbing the butt. Seattle's got your backs, but family? That's the real game. Back inside, Jasper found Eli in the foyer, coat in hand. Let's blow this, he muttered. And they fled into the night, bridge lights blurring through wipers. The drive home was silent at first, tension coiling. Then Jasper cracked. I told him. About us. About me. Eli's heart stuttered, pride swelling with fear. What did he say? Jasper's laugh was bitter. Called it a phase. Said therapy fixed worse. They pulled into a viewpoint overlooking the city. Engines off. Rain drumming the roof. Jasper turned, cupping Eli's face. Thumbs brushing tears Eli hadn't realized fell. I don't care. I love you, Eli. Have for years. The words unlocked something primal. They kissed fierce in the front seat, hands roaming, windows fogging like a veil. But pulling apart, reality intruded. Jasper's phone lit with Harlan's text. We talk tomorrow. For real. The fight brewed, inevitable. Days later, it erupted. Jasper stormed into Eli's studio apartment after work, face thunderous. He cut me off. The trust, the condo fund, gone. Says he'll reinstate when I get help. Eli pulled him down onto the futon, holding tight as sobs racked Jasper's frame. You're enough? Eli whispered, rocking him. We're enough. But doubt festered. Jasper threw himself into gigs, late nights blurring into dawn, coming home smelling of bourbon and stranger's smoke. Eli buried in deadlines, sketches turning abstract, anguished lines. One night, Eli found Jasper scrolling X's on his phone, thumb hovering over Riley's name. Just curious, Jasper lied, but the chasm widened. Arguments flared. Over Harlan's voicemails, unanswered. Over Eli's smothering check-ins. Over the fear that this love was borrowed time. The breaking point came midweek. Eli home early from a client pitch, finding Jasper on the couch with an old flame. Tyler, the charming bartender from their college dives, All dimples and no strings. Not kissing, not yet, but Tyler's hand on Jasper's knee. Laughter too intimate. Eli, Jasper started, scrambling up, but the door slammed behind him. Eli ran, blocks blurring in the downpour, chest heaving with betrayal's sharp edge. He ended up at their old high school field, empty under floodlights, collapsing onto the bleachers where they dreamed big once. Hours later, Jasper found him, soaked and shivering. It was nothing. Panicked. Dad's threats. I thought maybe straight was easier. The confession gutted Eli. Easier? Or safer? Am I just the experiment now? Jasper knelt, rain streaming down his face. No. You're the truth I almost lost. They clung there, broken and rebuilding, the field a witness to vows renewed. But the scar tissue formed, tender and tight. Seattle's rains washed clean, but some stains lingered. As winter edged in, they navigated minefields. Therapy sessions Jasper dragged to reluctantly, Eli's walls cracking under vulnerability's weight. Love, they learned, wasn't a straight line, twisted, yes, but there's to map. Winter clamped down on Seattle like a vice, holidays looming with their festive traps. Eli and Jasper opted out of Harlan's annual gala, holing up instead with Lena and her girlfriend, Mia, in a cramped queen and rentals strung with lights. Mulled wine flowed, board games devolved into chaos, and for stolen hours normalcy reigned. Jasper's arm around Eli's waist during charades, Mia's knowing wink over eggnog. But the idol cracked when Lena pulled Jasper aside, voice low. Dad's changing the will, cutting you out unless you fix this. Jasper's face drained, but he shrugged it off later, toasting with Eli. Fuck the money. I've got you. Yet the specter haunted. Jasper's freelance dried up, clients whispering about his personal drama. Harlan's influence a shadow pull. Bills piled. Arguments simmered over eviction notices and ramen dinners. Eli picked up shifts at a print shop, hands stained with ink, coming home to Jasper staring at the ceiling, lost in what-ifs. What if I went back? Jasper murmured one night, voice hollow. To Riley. To normal. Eli's world tilted. You'd hate it. Hate yourself. But the seed rooted, doubt's quiet poison. Spring thawed the ice, but not the chill between them. Jasper landed a gig illustrating for a Portland zine, packing overnight bags with forced optimism. Just 2 nights, he promised, kissing Eli goodbye in the dawn light. Alone, Eli unraveled, pacing the apartment, flipping through old photos. Jasper at 18, arms slung over his shoulders at prom. Eli's date had bailed. Jasper stepping in with a corsage and 0 questions. The compass tattoo mocked him now, directions lost. Desperate, Eli called his own estranged father, a long-hauler trucker in Spokane, for advice that came gruff and sparse. Love's a road, son. Sometimes you detour. Don't crash. Jasper returned changed, eyes distant, stories edited. Eli confronted him over takeout pho, steam curling like accusations. What happened in Portland? Jasper deflected at first, then crumbled. Ran into Tyler again. We talked. Drank. I kissed him. The words landed like a slap, Eli's vision blurring. Not sex, Jasper swore, but the betrayal stung deeper. Proof of the phase fear, the pull back to safety. I stopped it, Jasper pleaded, tears tracking. Came home to you. But Dad's voice. It's everywhere. Eli walked out, crashing at Lena's. Nights spent staring at Mia's abstract paintings, colors bleeding like wounds. Reconciliation came slow. A coffee shop sit down under fluorescent hum. Jasper arrived with swollen eyes, a sketchpad in hand. Pages of them, intertwined, labeled home. I fucked up, he admitted, voice steady. But you're my north, Eli. Always. They talked therapy, boundaries, the messy math of bisexuality in a world that demanded labels. Eli forgave, tentative, hands clasping across the formica. No more detours, he said, and Jasper nodded, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of second chances. Summer burned in, rare heat wave turning Seattle sultry. They escaped to the San Juans, ferrying to Orcas Island with a tent and cooler, reclaiming wildness. Days blurred. Kayaking glassy bays, Jasper's laughter echoing as seals bobbed nearby. Nights under stars, bodies slick and urgent, love-making a reclamation. Remember that Yellowstone trip? Jasper whispered post-climax, fingers tracing Eli's ribs. Eli hummed yes, the cold tent, the unspoken then. Wish I'd known, Jasper said. Would have kissed you stupid. Back in the city, momentum built. Jasper's zine illustrations went viral, a queer-positive series on hidden histories, drawing offers from Seattle galleries. Eli's designs caught a big fish, a campaign for LGBTQ plus youth center, billboards blooming across town with their faces stylized in rainbows. Harlan's silence broke with a letter, stiff stationery declaring disinheritance, but enclosed a check. For old times. No strings. Jasper burned it in the sink, ashes swirling down the drain. We're free, he declared, pulling Eli into a dance, vinyl spinning tom waits. But freedom's price emerged in shadows. At a pride afterparty in a soda warehouse, strangers' eyes lingered on Jasper's easy charm, the way he pulled Eli close. A drunk ex of Tyler's cornered them, slurring accusations. Heard Jazz is playing both sides. Careful, pretty boy. Eli laughed it off, but later, in the cab home, jealousy gnawed. You miss it? The straight passing ease. Jasper's face hardened. I miss nothing but the lie. They argued under the Aurora Bridge, words flying like sparks. Eli's insecurities clashing with Jasper's frustrations, until Jasper shouted, I choose you every damn day. Why isn't that enough? It wasn't the end, but a pivot. They sought couples counseling, a cozy office overlooking Green Lake, therapist a no-nonsense dyke named Ray who called bullshit gently. Sessions unearthed roots. Eli's fear of abandonment, tied to his mom's illness. Jasper's internalized shame, Harlan's ghost. Progress came in fits, date nights at Alki Beach, sunset picnics with craft brews, quiet admissions over Morning Joe. I love your stubborn heart. Fall leaves turned the park's gold, mirroring their thaw. One crisp evening, walking Discovery Park's trails, Jasper dropped to one knee. Not with a ring, but a simple chain, twin to Eli's. Marry me? Not legal yet, but in our world. Eli's yes was a sob, pulling him up into a kiss salt tanged by incoming tide. The proposal echoed their hook, that small touch years ago, now a vow. But as night fell, Eli wondered if happily ever after was a myth, or just the start of the real game. Autumn deepened, winds whipping the sound into frenzy, mirroring the gales within. Eli and Jasper's engagement rippled outward, Lena whooping over FaceTime, Mia planning a backyard ceremony, friends toasting at the stranger's queer trivia night, shots of Jägermeister sealing toasts. But Harlan's shadow lengthened. He showed unannounced one rainy Tuesday, pounding on Jasper's door like Judgment Day. Eli answered, spine straight, but Harlan bulldozed past, eyes raking the space. The pride flag on the fridge, Eli's sketches pinned to the wall. Where's my son? Jasper emerged from the bedroom, hair tousled, defensive. The confrontation unfolded in the living room, voices rising over the TV's muted news. Harlan's tirade was vintage, phases, confusion, the family name dragged through tabloids. You're throwing away everything for this. Fantasy. Jasper fired back, cheeks flushed. It's love, Dad. Realer than anything you peddled as marriage. Eli stood sentinel, but when Harlan turned venom his way, You poisoned him, boy. Something snapped. I love him, Eli said, voice steady. That's not poison. That's salvation. Harlan left in a huff, door slamming like finality, but the fallout lingered. Jasper spiraled, canceling gallery talks, holing up with whiskey and regrets. What if he's right? He confessed one night, head in Eli's lap, rain lashing windows. What if I ruin you? Eli stroked his hair, heart fracturing. We're already ruined without each other. But doubt's whisper grew. Anonymous emails to Jasper's inbox. Harlan orchestrated smears calling him a phase chaser. Clients ghosting. Eli's youth center gig stalled too, funders balking at controversy. Winter solstice brought nadir. At a holiday market in Fremont, under troll arms strung with lights, Jasper vanished mid-lap. Eli found him later, slumped on a bench by the canal. Phone clutched like a grenade. Riley called. He admitted, voice numb. Offered a second chance. Public reconciliation. Dad's pulling strings. Eli's world grayed. And Jasper's eyes met his, shattered. I said no. But it hurts, Eli. The what-ifs. They walked home in silence. The gap between them a chasm widened by exhaustion. Betrayal brewed subtle. Jasper started therapy solo. Ray's office a confessional he kept private. Eli, shut out, filled journals with fears, sketches of fractured compasses, Jasper's face dissolving into mist. One blizzard night, Eli came home to lights off, Jasper's coat gone. Panic clawed. A bar crawl? A backslide? Hours ticked, phone silent, until headlights pierced the dark. Jasper, snow-dusted, with takeout and a bottle of Eli's favorite Pinot. Walk to think, he said, pulling Eli close. Realized running's my pattern. Not anymore. But trust frayed. Spring equinox, Jasper's Portland zine launch. Eli couldn't make it, swamped with a freelance crunch. Photos surfaced online. Jasper arm in arm with Tyler at the afterparty. Captions winking old flames reignite. Eli's call went to voicemail. Texts unread till dawn. It was nothing. Promise. Rage boiled over when Jasper returned, suitcase thumping down. Nothing? Like your talks in Portland. Accusations flew. Lies. Omissions, the Harlan echo in every doubt. You're waiting for easy. Eli yelled, tears hot. Jasper recoiled, then advanced, grabbing wrists. Easy? This is war, Eli. Every day I fight for us. The fight crested in physicality. Not violence, but desperate grappling. Shirts tugged, breaths mingling fury and want. They collapsed onto the rug, lovemaking born of anger's embers, raw and reclaiming. After spent, Jasper traced Eli's collarbone. Tyler's just a ghost. You're mine now. Eli nodded, but the scar pulsed. Summer solstice marked pivot. They eloped to the Olympics, backpacking Hurricane Ridge under alpine glow. No rings, just vows etched on birch bark. In rain and ruin, I choose you. Back home, Harlan's olive branch arrived. A terse email, counseling, then maybe wedding. Progress, fragile. Jasper's career bloomed. A graphic novel deal on queer awakenings. Eli co-illustrating. Pride Month. They marched hand in hand. Rainbow flags whipping, cheers a bomb. Yet climax loomed. Fall harvest moon. A gallery opening for Jasper's show. Intimate, Capitol Hill loft buzzing with artsy queer folk. Harlan crashed it, suit crisp, face thunder. Proud of you, son. He boomed, but eyes on Eli like a challenge. Toasts flowed, then Harlan cornered Jasper in the back. Marry him if you must, but know I've got dirt, that Portland slip. Leverage for the will. Betrayal's knife twisted, Harlan, weaponizing Tyler's photo, a setup to reclaim control. Jasper erupted, voice carrying. You think you own me? This is my life. The room hushed, eyes wide. Eli stepped forward, hand on Jasper's back. Let him go, Mr. Whitaker, or lose him forever. Harlan's facade cracked, age lines deepening. I just wanted better. He left, tail between legs, but the revelation scorched. Jasper, gutted, confessed the full Portland truth. Not just a kiss, but a night blurred by booze and fear. Tyler's bed a momentary lapse. I came back, he wept. But I should have told you. Eli's world imploded. Love's pinnacle crumbling to ash. How do I trust now? He whispered, backing away. The party dissolved around them, friends murmuring support. But Eli fled to the roof, city sprawl mocking his smallness. Jasper followed, rain starting anew. Because I choose broken with you over whole alone. They stood apart, then bridged, embrace fierce. Forgiveness wasn't clean. Therapy marathons, nights of silence, but it rooted deep. As leaves turned to rot underfoot, Eli and Jasper rebuilt on fault lines. The Portland confession became cartography. Mapping hurts, redrawing boundaries. Ray mediated, her office a neutral ground where Eli voiced the terror. I see Tyler in every shadow. Jasper listened, owning the fracture. I hid to protect us. Failed. Progress measured in micromoments. Jasper deleting contacts. Eli sketching without suspicion's tint. Harlan's final play came via lawyer. A settlement offer. Strings attached. Therapy certification for Jasper. Public, straightening narrative. They shredded it together. Confetti raining like liberation. Winter's grip loosened into tentative spring. Cherry blossoms dusting Capitol Hill like fragile hope. Jasper's graphic novel launched to acclaim, Northbound. A tale of two wanderers finding home in each other. Dedications bold. For Eli, my true direction. Signings drew crowds. Queer kids with wide eyes asking, "Is it real?" Jasper grinned, pulling Eli on stage. Every word. The vulnerability terrified him, but Eli's proud squeeze grounded. Yet scars itched. A late-night call from Tyler. Apology laced with longing tested Jasper's resolve. He handed the phone to Eli mid-convo, transparent as glass. "Tell him yourself." Eli did, voice steel. "He's mine." Hanging up, they made love slow, deliberate, reclaiming skin inch by inch. Trust rebuilt not as monolith but mosaic pieces fitting stronger in cracks. Summer swelled, their wedding a quiet affair in Discovery Park. Lena officiating under madrona trees, Mia on guitar strumming an original, friends circling with wildflowers. Vows exchanged with sea salt on lips. Jasper's "I'll falter, but I'll return." Eli's "I'll hold the map when you lose yours." Harlan sent a card, unsigned, but present, tucked in an envelope with a check for the youth center. A truce, unspoken. Post-honeymoon. A cabin in the Cascades, days of hikes and starlit confessions. Real life resumed. Jasper's book tour pulled him east, Chicago to Boston, Eli tagging for legs. Their hotel nights a bubble against jet lag. In New York, at a queer-lit fest, Jasper outed the family fracture on stage. "My dad thought love like ours was a detour. Turns out, it's the highway." Applause thundered, but backstage, vulnerability hit. Jasper shaking, Eli anchoring. "You did good." Fall brought harvest of growth. Eli's designs went national. A billboard series on unseen identities gracing Times Square during a work trip. Jasper joined, their photo op a quiet triumph. Back home, they adopted a rescue mutt, Finn, a wiry terrier with Jasper's grin. Family expanding in fur and chaos. Holidays healed. Harlan at the table, tentative, passing potatoes without barbs. "Proud," he muttered once, to Jasper's back. Words caught but cherished. Climax echoed in subtlety. A winter storm knocking power out. Candles flickering as they huddled with Finn. Jasper's voice, soft and dark. That first touch, game night, felt like fate. Eli nodded, head on his chest. Changed everything. Reflection turned inward. Betrayals as teachers, conflicts as crucibles. They'd lost innocence, gained authenticity. Love not flawless, but forged. Into spring's bloom, they mentored at the youth center, sharing stories with wide-eyed teens. It's messy, but worth the fight. One kid, mirroring young Eli, clutched a sketchpad. "How do you know it's real?" Jasper knelt. "When you'd burn the world to keep it." Eli watched, heart full, the boy who'd hidden now the man who shone. Years layered like Seattle's strata. Jasper's sequel, Eli's studio opening, Finn's gray muzzle. Harlan softened, grandkids, adopted, eventually, thawing him fully. Betrayals faded to footnotes. The small touch origin story retold at parties. Laughter weaving pain into wisdom. In quiet evenings, overlooking the sound, they'd sit, hands entwined, rain or shine. "We made it," Jasper'd say, kissing knuckles. Eli'd smile. "Still making." The game continued, no winners, just players. Bound by compassion's thread, identities woven whole. Freedom wasn't absence of storm, but dancing in it, together. The years after that rooftop reckoning stretched like the endless horizon of the Salish Sea. Waves of joy and undertow pulling them through. Eli and Jasper settled into a rhythm that felt earned, not given. A home bought in Fremont, walls echoing with Finn's barks and the hum of Jasper's drafting table. Mornings started with coffee shared on the porch swing. Jasper's head on Eli's shoulder, watching fairies cut silver paths. "Remember the bleachers?" Jasper murmured one dawn, voice gravelly from sleep. Eli chuckled, fingers carding through sun-bleached hair. "How could I forget? You looked like a drowned puppy." But memory's blade had dulled. What once cut now caressed. The Portland scar, Tyler's ghost. They spoke of it openly now, in therapy check-ins or over post-dinner walks along the locks, salmon leaping like affirmations of return. Jasper's bisexuality, once a minefield, became bridge. Panels at queer cons where he'd share, labels lie, love doesn't. Eli, ever the visual poet, illustrated the talks, panels of compasses converging, not conflicting. Their story inspired a quiet ripple in Seattle's vibrant undercurrent. Harlan's evolution was slower, tectonic. Post-wedding, he'd attended a PFLAG meeting incognito, dragged by Lena, emerging shell-shocked but cracked open. Visits started stilted Sunday brunches where he'd grill Jasper on book sales, avoiding Eli's eyes. Then came the olive branch, a fishing trip to Hood Canal, just the three of them, rods casting into misty dawn. Words were few, but Harlan's gruff "you're good for him" to Eli, over trout sizzling on coals, sealed more than speeches. By Finn's second birthday, Harlan babysat, the terrier's chaos melting his reserve into laughter. Challenges persisted, life's impartial lash. Jasper's graphic novel sequel tanked initial sales, critics calling it preachy, plunging him into doubt's familiar fog. Eli pulled him through, co-creating a webcomic spin-off that went viral, pixels healing pages. Eli's own crisis hit mid-40s. A client scandal, accusations of woke pandering in his identity campaigns, sponsors fleeing. Nights found him sketching furiously, Jasper massaging tense shoulders. Your art's truth. They'll catch up. They did, the backlash birthing a TEDx talk, Eli on stage, voice steady. Visibility isn't agenda. It's oxygen. Family grew roots. They fostered teens from the youth center. First a runaway named Kai, 16 and fierce, with tattoos hiding track marks. Sleepless nights of arguments and breakthroughs. Kai's walls crumbling when Jasper shared his own phase fears. Adoption papers signed under cherry blossoms. Kai's grin at the courthouse worth every storm. Then came Milo, a quiet artist kid, completing their patchwork tribe. Holidays swelled. Tables groaning with Lena's Turkish delights, Mia's carols, Harlan's awkward toasts evolving to chosen families. Love evolved too, deepening from fire to hearth. Anniversaries marked not with grand gestures, but echoes. Game nights recreating that Seahawks miracle, hands brushing deliberate, kisses following like halftime. Intimacy shifted, less urgent, more exploratory, mornings lazy with touches that mapped new lines, ages gentle etchings. You're still my plot twist, Jasper teased, tracing Eli's laugh lines. Eli retorted, and you're my sequel worth reading. Climax revisited in subtlety, a health scare, Jasper's chest pains during a hike in the Olympics, ER lights harsh as memory. Tests clear, stress labeled, but the fear bonded them tighter. Hospital vigil where Eli confessed, can't lose you now. Jasper, foredripped, grinned weak. Northbound, remember? Recovery brought clarity. Scaling back, prioritizing. Sabbaticals in Port Townsend, sketching seaside, fostering dreams deferred. Into golden years, they mentored legacies. Kai's gallery shows, Milo's zines echoing Jasper's voice. Harlan passed quietly, will equitable, letter tucked in. I was wrong. Love like yours? It's the legacy. Grief shared, a walk in Discovery Park, hands clasped as always. On their 30th, Finn long buried under the Madrona, they returned to that first apartment, now a coffee shop toasting with lattes. Rain fell soft, Seattle's benediction. One small touch, Eli said, leaning in. Jasper's eyes, still blue fire, changed everything. For the better. In the end, it wasn't triumph or tragedy, but humanity's quiet arc. Compassion in fractures, freedom in choice, identity a shared sketch, ever evolving. They walked home, arms linked, the city theirs, watching games like always, but now every touch a homecoming.